Hi everyone, and either welcome for the first time or welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today we're going to be doing a one spring, one to chair workout. So it's been a minute since I uploaded the last video, which was the chair workout with the handles attached and on 2 high springs. So today we're going to be doing a one spring workout on what I refer to as the one to chair because that's what we call it in the classical Pilates studio. However, today I'm working on the Malibu Pilates Pro Chair at home. So the reason why we're going to be doing a one spring workout today is because the general rule is anytime that your hands are on the pedal, it's one spring, and anytime your feet are on the pedal, it's 2 springs. And most of the time today, we're going to be having hands on the pedal, and so that's why we're on the light setting. Now let me show you what I mean about the one spring setting so that you can adjust it accordingly on your chair at home. So you can see I already have one dangling here. We do not need one spring attached. And on the other spring, I've brought it all the way down to the lower setting instead of the hook higher up. The hook higher up is just a little too much tension and can be a little too much for your shoulder safety. So the lower spring, I would really prefer there to be a middle setting, but the lower spring is what we're going to go with today. To get started here, we're going to be doing a quick warm-up, which involves a couple exercises from the mat Pilates work that we're going to be doing on a very small mat on top of the chair here. Now, if you have any neck issues, I don't advise doing these exercises because there's nothing to support your head and neck. You have to keep it up the whole time. And even that said, as you're going through these exercises and your neck gets really fatigued, just sit up and either let it have a moment or skip the exercise altogether. All right, so let's get started with the 100. So I'm going to sit all the way to the very edge of the seat, and I'm sitting on the long way of the seat of the chair. And lying back, knees into chest, you want to make sure that your pelvis is just towards the edge of the chair, and you're still lifting up, you're lightly flexing your neck and looking above your knees, and reach your arms forward above the level of your waist. Your legs are in a nice tabletop, and start to pump your arms up and down. Take a deep breath in, and exhale. Focus on your low abdominals pulling in, your shoulders rolling back. We're going to breathe in for 5 counts and exhale for 5 counts. We do this for a full 10 breaths. If you'd like to advance the legs, stretch them out on a high diagonal. Make sure you can still pull your low abdominals in below your navel. We're going to do 2 more deep breaths here. Press your heels together. Finish on a nice exhale. Hold the back of your knees and just be careful as you rock yourself up to sit that you don't roll yourself right off the chair. Give yourself a moment. We're going to go into the ab series next. So here we go back down. Pelvis is forward. You're still lifted. The single leg stretch is we're going to pull one knee into the chest, lift the other leg either up to the ceiling or take it forward on the high diagonal. Switch the arms and legs. Pull. Make sure you're still looking high above your knees. Still check in with your lower abs and your shoulders rolling back. You're going to do 2 more each leg. And then the double leg stretch. Hold your shins. Inhale, reach your arms between your eyes and ears, your legs up. Circle your arms around. Exhale, pull your knees in. Keep checking in with those low abdominals. As they weaken, pull them back in. One more time. Single straight leg stretch. We're going to lift the legs up to the ceiling, hands behind the thigh. Give the leg 2 pulls. Switch legs. Pull, pull. Breathe nice and deep. And if any moment you need to sit up, you do, which we're going to in a minute. Bend your knees in, hold behind your legs, rock yourself up. Take a moment. We're going to do 2 more advanced exercises. So if these don't feel right for you and you want to skip them, please give yourself permission. Lying on back, double straight leg stretch. Hands are behind your head, palm over palm. Lift your legs up. Lower your legs only to the point you can still pull your abdominals and you don't feel your back is strained. Lift your legs up so your knees are over your hips. If you have really tight hamstrings like I do, you might have to bend your knees a little bit. Keep trying to lift your upper back away from the chair. We'll go 2 more. Bend your knees right into crisscross. You're going to cross towards one bent knee. The other leg reaches out. Twist to the other side. Try to keep your pelvis steady and turn your rib cage. Don't turn yourself off the chair. And we're going to hold behind the legs. Come on up. So the next exercise we're going to do is the swan. I have turned my chair so that you can see me in a better way and you can see what the pedal is doing. So you're going to lie down onto your stomach on top of the chair, put your hands on the pedal, press it down, and keep your legs lifted behind you. So you want to feel that your pelvis is fully supported on the top of the chair and that your shoulders are directly over top of your hands. You want the heels of your hands to be more forward on the pedal than behind because you want to try to get a little more open through your wrists. And take your hands as wide as they can be on the pedal. Okay, you don't have to make fists here. You can have long fingers. And next thing we're going to find is just a really good straight line here through your whole body. So you see, I kind of had to let my pedal lift up a little bit. And I'm lifting my legs up behind me, but only to the point that I can feel that my pelvis is very level on the chair, pulling my low abs in, and I'm pulling a little bit of my rib cage up to my spine. So we're going to first start here with a set of push-ups because this is a really great way to find your shoulders on your back. So you want to feel that your shoulders are not pushing off your back. They're not sagging all the way together. Can you find a nice in-between? You feel just a little muscle tone there. And then we're going to bend the elbows like a tricep push-up. And then press the arms back down without having to change your shoulders at all. Press your heels together, keep your legs engaged, and keep checking in that you keep that little lift to the front of your rib cage as your upper abdominals and your lower abdominals. We'll do 2 more here. Make sure you're looking flat at the floor, you're not hanging your head. Okay, so then as we go into the swan, I want you to feel like you're pushing back a little into the pedal with your hands. And you start to lift your head up a little bit, and then lift your upper back, and the pedal will start to come up, and your arms are straight, and you only lift up to the point where you don't have to change the weight in your pelvis. And then you lower the pedal slowly back down. Maybe we keep it just a couple of inches off the floor, and then you look down at the floor at the very end. We'll do that again. Pull back against the pedal, lift your head up, and start to arch your very upper back. Could you even roll your shoulders back a little more? And arch right at the base of your neck and between your shoulder blades. And then lower back down and keep looking a little ahead of you until you get all the way to a nice long line with your spine. And then you look towards the floor. We'll do 3 more. Lift the pedal up, but you think you're arching your upper back to do so and your legs don't fall behind you. And then lower back down and look at the floor. 2. Check in with those shoulders, check in with your lower abs. Lower back down with control. 1 more time. And then reaching long, lowering down. Okay, to get out of this position, bring one hand to the chair's top and scoot back a little so you can find your feet on the floor. Lift the pedal up. 2 hands on the chair top. Find your feet fully under you. So the next exercise we're going to do is the teaser on top of the chair. Now, this is an exercise where we are going to play with the spring setting here and put it on that high spring because you need a little extra support in this exercise, and that lower spring just doesn't cut it. So I'm just going to pop down here and slide my 1 spring up to the top hook, and that should be good. Okay, so the accessory that we're using for this exercise is the ball. And the ball is going to be for your feet to go on. So you want to find that you're sitting all the way to the front of the chair here, and your sit bones are just right at the edge. So you go a little bit of your heels together and toes a little bit apart with your knees bent, and you want to walk your feet back a little bit on the ball just so that it's not right on top of the ball. You have a little more space for your knees. Okay, so getting into this exercise can be a little tricky, so make sure you take it slowly. First thing is lift your arms up to a nice high 45-degree angle. Make sure that your gaze is out. It's not towards the floor. And then just rotate behind your sit bones a little bit so you feel like you're lightly rounding your spine. You've pulled your lower abs in. Turn your palms up to the ceiling. Drag your elbows behind you. Now here's the tricky part. You're going to turn your palms around, and can you find where the pedal is? So you don't really want to have a death grip on the pedal, but make sure that your hand isn't going to slip off. Your fingers are facing inward, and really try to roll those shoulders back. This is a difficult exercise for me because of my tight shoulders. So the first thing we're going to do is that ball is just going to stay still, and you're going to rotate your pelvis back, and that'll move the pedal down. You want to try to get your pelvis level to the chair. Really check in with those shoulders, rolling back a bit more, and then deepen your low abs more and start to round back forward to lift the pedal up. And come up just until you feel that spring is about closed. And do that again. Rotate your pelvis back, and that's what's pressing the pedal down rather than you thinking about having to push it. Deepen your low abs, pull in below your navel. Start to round back up. Come all the way up to where you're just behind your sit bones, and that spring is up. One more time. And then coming back up. All right, so now once you get that spring closed and you're just behind your sit bones, circle your arms back up to that high diagonal. Maybe you come a little bit higher, and then lower your arms for a moment. So that's our first set. We're going to do 2 more sets here of 3, and we're going to add on some progressions. So the next progression, we're going to get back into the position the same way. Palms up, elbows back, find the pedal. Now, in this position, as you start to rotate your pelvis back, slide your legs long, and the ball moves away from you. And then as you're rounding back up, can you draw the ball back in? And then we'll do that again. Rotate your pelvis back as you reach your legs long, and then come back up. When you're coming back up, guys, here, you might want to get a finger or 2 around that pedal just to make sure that you can lift it up all the way. And then one more time here, legs out long as you're moving your pelvis. The 2 actions go together, not individually. At the same time, you come back in. Okay, we're going to reach the arms around in front and then lower the arms down. Okay, so the last progression here, we're going to get a little fancier. We're going to do a 1-leg version. So we're going to get back into the position, but extend one leg up. And it can be at a high diagonal, but not a completely straight knee. If your hamstring's really tight, don't worry about that. So get your arms back to the pedal. All right, so now the ball's going to stay steady, but as you rotate your pelvis and you roll back, try to press your leg down to the ball. Ooh, that's harder. And then coming back up, lift your leg as you lift the pedal up. And then do that again. Rotate your pelvis and roll back. Maybe the leg goes down too. And get all the way level to the chair top, and then coming back up, lift it up at the same time. All right, let's just do 2 there. Switch legs. Okay, so the ball again is going to stay in place. And then you roll back. Lower your leg down. Deepen your low abs. Come back up. Lift the leg at the same time. Remember, a finger around the pedal can help. One more time. And then coming back up. All right, so here's where we're going to get really fancy. So try to keep that leg in the air. Maybe we lift the other one up to meet it. Maybe just for fun, we see if the legs can stay where they are. And you rotate your pelvis back. You might not get to go quite as far. Come back up. Just one of those is plenty. Circle your arms around. Maybe you can stay with your lifted legs and your teaser. Maybe they can go a little longer. And then bend your knees, set your feet down. Good job. All right, so the next series we're going to do is going to be a series of progressions on side bending or side flexion. I'm going to give you the beginner version, the intermediate version, and then we'll go to the advanced version. So all of these can kind of go by the name mermaid, except for the last one that we do is called twist preparation. And so the first 2 that we're going to do, the mermaid, the first one is you're sitting sideways on the chair, and I want your knee of the leg that's on the chair to be against the edge, the side edge of the chair, so it's supported. So your other leg is out, right in line with your hip, okay? And you can do like a little bit more of that edge, inside edge of your foot on the floor. So like from inside heel to the big toe knuckle. And you're going to find your hand in the center of the pedal, long fingers, and then your other arm up by your ear. So you can see how I'm already kind of starting in a side bend, but I'm reaching opposition through this top arm and then the leg that's on the floor. Okay. Roll your pedal arms shoulder back, and then think about lightly press into the pedal and reach through that top arm, but reach through the top leg as well. Pull against the pedal a little bit here, and can you get a little bit longer in this position? And then resist the spring back up just to where it's closed. You don't have to sit all the way upright. Do that again. So you go a little deeper into the stretch and pull against the pedal and you come back up. We'll do one more here. And then coming back up, come up all the way tall. So I'm going to turn around. I won't turn the chair. I'll just turn around. You can see this from the back. Do the other side. So again, we want knees supported. You want your big toe and inside of the heel edge on the floor so you have a nice straight ankle, but you have something to push against. Hand in the center of the pedal, other arm up by your ear. Roll your shoulder back. Reach into the pedal. Pull against it lightly so you get just a little longer through your spine here. And then coming back up. Do that again. Reach through the top arm and the top leg in opposition. Make sure you tip your head a little bit. And up just to where the spring is closed. One more time. And coming back up. Sit all the way up tall. All right, so let's do the intermediate version. Now I'm going to get a knee pad here because we're going to be kneeling in front of the chair. All right, so our intermediate mermaid here is down on the floor, and I just have a rolled up yoga mat under my knees for a little bit of cushion. Now, in the last mermaid that I did, I forgot to change the spring back to the lower setting, but it actually felt okay, so you can get away with it. Here, though, I put the spring back on the lower setting. So hand is on the center of the pedal, and it should be just slightly forward of your shoulder. Now, you may not get fully contact here with the heel of your hand when you're upright, and that's okay. I want you to be upright most importantly, and when you're moving, you might have to let your hand slide a little bit. The other arm is going to be up by your ear, and I want your upper arm to be very close to your temple. And the first thing you'll do is you'll tip your head a little bit and then bring your arm over to meet it, and then lightly press into the pedal. And I want you to think about reaching taller, not just bending to the side. And you might have to feel your hips shift just a little away from the pedal. And then you come back up tall and come up fully vertical. So that hand might have to shift again. And then we do it again. So we tip the head first, reach the arm, reach up to go across. Make sure you're not just collapsing to the side. Could you be a little taller here? And then come back up tall. We'll do one more time this side. And then coming back up. Okay, so I'll turn around, but first I'm going to push the yoga mat a little bit so it's behind the center on that side. Again, checking, am I about 2 fist widths away from the base of the chair? I'm going to have feet long. Hand in the center of the pedal, arm up by the ear, start really vertical, tip your head, bring your arm, lightly reach into the pedal. Keep squaring your hips forward, but you can shift them a little away and grow taller. And then coming back up. And again, tip your head, bring your arm, lightly press the pedal. Coming back up. So you really want to feel that there's good weight over your left knee. Again, shift the hips a little if you need to. And then coming all the way back up tall. Lower your arm. All right, so here comes our advanced version. Now, this is called the twist preparation. It's actually a preparation for a much bigger exercise, but it still has the same principle of our side bending or lateral flexion. So I've put my hips just sitting a little bit behind the center of the top of the seat, so that when I put my hand in the center of the pedal, it's just a little bit forward of my shoulder. So put a top hand here, right at the front edge of the chair. Press the pedal down and reach your legs out long. And the same thing is in our swan here. You want to make sure that your shoulder's over top of your hand is a little further forward. And if you need to adjust, if your hand doesn't feel good on the metal, you can bring your hand to the padded portion, but you might need to sit up and adjust where your hips are so that your hand's not too far forward or certainly not behind your shoulder. So you want to flex your feet like you're trying to push your feet into a wall, and make sure that your legs are stacked and your pelvis is squared straight ahead. And you're really trying to pull yourself into a long line here and feel a little bit of your bottom ribs lifting up. So for some of us, it might be necessary to bend the elbow a little bit to get into a straight line, so you're not like kind of starting up here already. But if you can get to that pedal all the way down and your arms straight, and you feel like both sides of your waist are long, that's a good place to start. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is lift the head up a little bit, and then keep a straight arm as the pedal lifts you up. And you come up only as high as you don't have to move your pelvis, which is very difficult. And then as you reach back out, keep your head up until you're in a nice long line, and then your neck is the very last thing to extend because we're working articulation. So articulation starts from the top into side flexion. And then as we go down, we're articulating from the bottom of our spine all the way to the head. We'll do one more time like this. And then reaching back out. All right, I'll give you one advanced thing here to do, so we can either have the arm right on top of your body or reach it up to the ceiling. We'll do one more time. And reaching back out. Let's go to the other side now. So hip slightly behind the center of the chair, hand in the middle of the pedal, press it down, reach your legs out. Stand on a wall. Make sure that your shoulders are over top of your hand and it's the heel of your hand. So we're starting with that top hand on top of the chair. Nice long line. Tip your head up first. Keep a straight arm as you lift up. Keep your pelvis squared forward and steady. Articulate from the bottom of your spine back out to your nice long line. And then again, head up first, keep a straight arm. And then reaching back out, bottom of spine to top, head last. And one more here. And reaching back out. You want to take that advanced one, so either arm here or up to the ceiling. It's going to be harder to come up and keep your pelvis steady. And reaching back out long. Okay, let's do a few standing and wrap it up today. Okay, so our last two exercises here, we're going to do the push down front, and I'm standing right at the very base of the chair, so the toes are touching, and I've got a fist distance between my big toe knuckles, and I'm going to use a good heel toe measurement to step 1 foot length back from here. Arms go up to the ceiling. Make sure that your pelvis and your rib cage are under you and not sticking out in front of you or out behind you. And you're going to round forward like you're diving over and find the heels of your hands onto the pedal. Now in this position, I want you to get your shoulders onto your back so you're not feeling like you're really hunching your upper back. And then you're going to press the pedal down. And I want you to get your weight really far over top of the pedal so that it feels like your heels want to lift out of the floor and pull your low abs in. And now this is going to be the hard part. Rotate your pelvis up, but keep that weight towards your toes and over the pedal as you come up. And then press the pedal back down, keeping your weight really forward. But when you get it down, make sure you're not hunching your upper back or trying to push your shoulders wide. Rotate your pelvis again, deepen those low abs. And then press the pedal back down. The movement is coming from your hips. So when I say your pelvis rotating, you're going to rotate like your sit bones towards the floor or your hip bones up away from the floor. And then your hip bones back down, but your sit bones out behind you. And we'll go one more time here. Deepen those low abs to help lift and rotate your pelvis. And keep them pulling in as you press back down. You're not shifting your weight back. And then the last time, coming up here, keep pulling yourself forward. So even though after the spring closes, your weight's still really forward, bring your arms with you as you roll your pelvis upright and you stack your bones, spine tall, and your ribs are under you. They're not sticking out in front. And then circle your arms in your peripheral vision. Now we're going to do the flexion extension exercise from behind the chair. So I have my toes lined up to right where the back of the chair is. It's possible to push them under, but I don't want you to do that. I just want you to keep your toes in line and still about a fist distance apart. So we're going to get down to the pedal the same way, arms up, nice and long through your spine here. Dive over to the pedal. You're rounding your spine with control. Find your hands on top. So flexion extension, I want you to think about this as like doing a fancy cat-cow exercise. So you're rounded here and you're looking towards your thighs and you're kind of rotating your tailbone through your legs. And then as you start to lightly press into the pedal, arch your back. So you might have to let your knees bend a little bit if your hamstrings are tight. Make sure that your weight's more in your feet than your hands, and you want to try to reach your chest towards the chair top. And then round back up. Ooh, that's a hard transition. Round into your flexion as the pedal comes up. And we'll do that again. Arch your back so your sit bones reach out behind you a little. Try to arch between your shoulder blades. Look a little ahead of the pedal. And your chest towards the chair top. And then round back up. So you rotate your pelvis, round your back, tail through your legs. We'll do it 2 more times. And really feel that arch mostly in your upper back, then your lower back. Woo! And up 1 more time. And rounding back up. Okay, once the pedal is up, we're going to roll up tall. And then circle your arms around. Okay, so that's it for today. Hopefully you feel great and invigorated after that workout. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you to all my subscribers. If you're not a current subscriber, maybe consider becoming one, and remember to hit that like button. So thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for future videos. Hope you all have a great day. Bye.